It's been 5 years since this movie was announced, and the last time we got an update on this thing and where it was at was 2 years ago. So I'm thinking today is a good day. Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on this video. My name is Chris. Today what I'm going to be talking about is the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, a film that is very anticipated in the horror community and video game enthusiast community. Not only did we recently get an update from Jason Blum, the head of Blumhouse, who is responsible for bringing us this live-action Five Nights at Freddy's movie, but it's also confirmation whether this project is still happening or canceled. Along with running you through the development history of this project and why some fans are just so frustrated that this movie has not hit the big screen yet. So leave a like down below if you're one of those FNAF fans who just has faith that we will eventually see this movie on the big screen, or comment down below if you've lost your anticipation for this movie and are just going to continue to play the video games. So in April of 2015, it was announced that the wildly popular video game Five Nights at Freddy will be turned into a live-action movie with Warner Brothers. At the time, the project showed a lot of faith because Warner Brothers is a pretty big studio, and you also have the creator of the game, Scott Cawthon, attached as producer with creative control over the project. A producer attached to the movie had this to say on what they were looking to do with the project. We're looking forward to working with Scott to make an insane, terrifying, and weirdly adorable movie. Warner Brothers even went ahead and attached a director to the film, Gil Keenan. He directed such films as Monster House and the remake of Poltergeist. Everything seemed good to go, and this movie was looking to hit theaters by 2017. However, in 2016, Warner Brothers had a major shakeup and they just could not agree with Scott over what to do with the movie, letting Warner Brothers let go of the project and hand it over to Blumhouse. In that time, Five Nights at Freddy fans were all wondering why this occurred, why they couldn't get a script together correctly, what was wrong with the project that Warner Brothers was just not on board. And several years later, it looks like we got our answer. In 2018, if you didn't know, Warner Brothers was responsible for the Banana Splits horror movie. This was a made-for-TV horror movie for the Sci-Fi Channel that brought back to life Hanna-Barbera cartoon characters, the Banana Splits, and turned them into a horror film. The basic premise of the movie was animatronic puppets at a live taping of a kids show go haywire and start attacking the audience. I did a review on it for my channel. It is nothing but cheesy goodness on the same level of the Sharknado movies. I have a guilty pleasure side for these really random, wacky horror movies. But the reason I bring this up is because it's rumored that that exact script that they used for the film was originally the script they had in mind for the live-action Five Nights at Freddy's movie. Seeing the outcome of what that movie was and just how badly it was crafted, it's easy to understand why Scott felt like Warner Brothers was not treating his property with love and was willing to give it up for a smaller studio that might have respected his source material. But now at Blumhouse, the studio known for just making an abundance of horror movies was in charge of this horror movie. The studio didn't hesitate to move the project forward, knowing its value, also hiring a new director, this time around going with Christopher Columbus. And no, not the one who savaged all those Native Americans, but I bet you he'd make a pretty good horror movie. Some of the movies Christopher Columbus has been responsible for working on are movies like Mrs. Doubtfire, Home Alone, the first two Harry Potter movies, and now he's attached to a horror movie. I've got to agree with the fans and think that this is such a random left turn for a filmmaker to be on board with a video game that has a lot of potential to be gory, scary, and unsettling on the big screen. The only conclusion the Five Nights at Freddy fanbase can come to on why he is hired for this adaptation of the video game is because his background in kid-friendly entertainment. And when you look at the Five Nights at Freddy property and its majority audience being kids and the video game centered in a pizzeria that's meant for kids, his insight on making movies that have a childlike sense of wonder and adding a horror twist to it could actually pay off for the studio in the long run. Things remained quiet on the project until August of 2018, where a Twitter account decided to ask Jason Blum himself, the head of the studio, "My daughter is dying to know if you're still attached to Five Nights at Freddy's and what year you see it being released. Thanks." Jason Blum replying with, "We are, my guess, and just a guess, 2020. Again, at this time, fans are reassured, they're happy, the video games are at a height now with several sequels that have been happening. But as you all very well know, being in 2020, it's pretty much a horrible year. Even if the movie did get released this year, it would have been delayed and we wouldn't even have seen it in theaters thanks to the Rona. So with Jason Blum letting us know that 2020 was the release window for this Five Nights at Freddy's movie, it should let us know, okay, that means they're pretty close. We could get it next year, maybe the year after that. Unfortunately, Scott, the creator of Five Nights at Freddy, went ahead and updated fans on a Steam message board in November of 2018 that the film will be delayed. Saying, okay guys, I had a script written, Jason liked it, and Christopher Columbus liked it too. But I tossed it. I had a different idea for it, one that I liked better. I take responsibility for this delay, it's my fault. Continuing on, it's been a real challenge for everyone, including myself, to come up with a good screenplay for this, but I'm determined to find the right story. I'm sticking to what I've always said, either the right movie gets made or no movie gets made. Reading those words from the creator of Five Nights at Freddy and how hard he's working on the script for the movie, you have to applaud his restraint at trying to completely perfect what this film could be to give it to us fans. And I'm fully aware that I'm an entitled douche sitting around a bunch of toys going, where is this damn movie? I want to see it. But putting fan entitlement to the side, there's a big risk to delaying this movie over and over several years. One, the biggest dilemma that the Five Nights at Freddy franchise is suffering right now is all the knockoffs and rip-offs of the franchise. Not only did we have the Banana Splits horror movie that I mentioned that involved a bunch of animatronic puppets coming to life at a children's play area to go after children and their families. We also have Wally's Wonderland, which is a movie coming out in 2020. We could have had a year with 2 animatronic evil puppet movies coming out in 2020, but that movie deals with evil animatronic puppets versus Nicolas Cage at a children's amusement park going after kids and family members. Us fans of the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise will realize, oh man, that sucks that they beat Five Nights to it, but to the general audience, they're gonna think, oh, Five Nights of, what is that, a ripoff of Wally's Wonderland? A ripoff of the Banana Splits movie? I'm good. The majority of people who aren't aware of the video game are unfortunately going to get that mindset. The other consequence of waiting so long and delaying the Five Nights at Freddy's movie even further is that audience interest in the project just goes down every year you don't release that movie. I mentioned this movie was announced 5 years ago, where Five Nights at Freddy was at its peak of being a very popular video game because the game had just come out the previous year. Looking at Google Trends, which keeps you up to date with how often people are searching for a certain subject and their interest in the property, in the 5-year span that Five Nights at Freddy has been popular, it has gone down to less than half. Meaning the audience who are fans and willing to go check out this movie are just not that interested anymore. Leading to one of the last updates that we got until this most recent one that happened this week. In March of 2019, Jason Blum was asked again on Twitter about the Five Nights at Freddy movie. Do you have any FNAF news, and what's your best movie you made and favorite movie in general? After answering the fans' question on his favorite movie, he updates on the Five Nights at Freddy film. We haven't been able to get the script right on Five Nights, but I now think we are getting really close. And if you look at the release schedule for Blumhouse's studio, they have every movie mapped out until the year 2021, and Five Nights at Freddy's is nowhere to be found on that list. So if what he's saying is true and they're close to getting this thing made, the earliest we could see it would be in the year 2022. And at this point, a lot of the Five Nights at Freddy fans have turned on the project and are just no longer interested in the movie and are going to continue playing the video games. Every time I bring up the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, I get comments like this. The FNAF movie isn't happening. Hard to believe there are still morons out here thinking that there's a FNAF movie in development. And you really can't blame them for having that mindset when it goes years before we get updates on the movie, leading me to the most recent update we just got a couple of days ago. Twitter user Aiden went ahead and asked Jason Blum directly on Twitter about the film. Kind of crazy that the only way we're getting updates on this movie is by people literally tweeting at the man. Don't go spamming him. He's gonna hate the FNAF community and then we'll never get this movie. But in the midst of all these movies being delayed, canceled, and projects just not happening after years, this Twitter user Aiden asked him, is the FNAF movie still happening? And Jason Blum replies with, yes. Don't you hit me with that comment saying it really took you 10 minutes to go ahead and explain all of that? Bro, when you're in quarantine for this long, You'll do anything to make the time pass. So I need you guys to let me know down below, are you still excited for this Five Nights at Freddy's movie? Don't forget to leave a like on this video. I just explained to you the whole history. But as always, be sure to like and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at 3C Film Review. As always, I'm Chris. Take care.